Welcome, thanks, thank you for coming in, Jackie. What we'll do is, we'll ask you to take the first 5 or 7 minutes to, make a statement as to why you would like to serve on the board in that. Then we do have some specific questions that we will ask you after that.
Okay.
So,
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you today. I know most of you, but for the sake of the audience, I'll just tell you who I am. I'm Jacquie Leventoff, and I am born and raised here in Sullivan County. I'm a lifelong area resident in Sullivan County and Fallsburg. I went away to college, and I came back here to raise my family because I believe in this community. I believe each one of you have a copy of my resume. You can see I have extensive background, not only in the Chamber of Commerce, which I spent many years heading. I also have extensive background in nonprofit organizations. The United States Postal Service Advisory Board, things that people would never know of, but it was important to the business community at the time to make sure that mail is delivered and accepted on time. The Child Care Council, Habitat for Humanity. I'm a founder of the Sullivan County Partnership for Economic Development. I'm an incorporator and partnership founder of that. I am the founder and incorporator of the Sullivan County Chamber of Commerce Foundation. I currently serve and have served since the inception, but currently serve as the vice chair of the Sullivan Wawarsing REAP Zone Board. So I have extensive knowledge of the inner workings of Sullivan County. For the last 10 years, I have been fortunate enough to work for a large national retailer, which is based here in Sullivan County. And I'm proud to say that I was instrumental in bringing Kohl's here. That Mike Sullivan and I worked diligently to bring them here as a major employer. So I know both sides of the issue of bringing a major employer here on the chamber side and then working for the major employer and what the issues that they face on the other side. So together, I think that it gives me a broad knowledge of what businesses face and how to overcome those. Through my experience with the Chamber of Commerce, I was intimately involved with the IDA. And at the time, the Chamber, the Partnership, and the IDA were co-located at 198 Bridgeville Road, which we deemed the Small Business Development Center, and the sign still is on the building today. And we instituted something called the No Wrong Door policy. People who are working and they just need help, they don't know where to go. So if they walked in the front door and they entered the IDA and talked to Jennifer, she would take them upstairs and talk to Mark Baez or Mike Sullivan or myself, depending on what the person needed. We in turn would do the same thing. We would meet on a weekly basis, go over the people we were talking to, how can we best serve those people, who's ready to go on, take the next step. So I am very versed in the funding mechanisms of the IDA, from the pilot agreements to the tax abatements to real property tax, sales tax being, all of that. We had to be, because to work as a small, intimate group to help the business community of Sullivan County, we all shared each other's knowledge and what everyone else had to offer. So we were instrumental in helping a lot of businesses. We handed one off to the other. Okay, so now here's the partnership can help you with this, now the chamber can help you with that. So we really had a clear line between the agencies about where we would start and where we would stop. So we would overlap and help each other, but more importantly, we would work together. It wasn't a competition. The competition was us against the world to bring people here. So in a nutshell, that's my background, and that's why one of the reasons I want to come back to get more community involved. A very dear friend of mine is fighting for cancer at the moment, and last night as I sat at her bedside, it's like, okay, and I read Scott's questions, and why do you want to serve is one of the questions.
it wasn't mine, it was Kitty's, just so
Okay.
there wasn't a second set of questions, everybody.
Oh,
wow.
Okay. But
It's the
why
same group.
Okay, but why do you want to serve? And as I sat there, and I was there with a group of friends from high school that flew in from all over the country to be here together. We have a unique community. People don't do that. We sat at dinner last night talking, and people don't realize, it's like when they say they're going home to see a friend who's sick. It's like, why? You haven't seen him in 10, 15, it doesn't matter. Why do you want to serve? because at the end of the day, it's your legacy that matters. What did you leave behind? Did you make a difference? And that's why I want to serve. I want to make a difference. I want to leave a legacy behind. There are people who came before any of us that built an airport, 6,300 feet of runway, enough to land commercial airliners. Now granted, we don't have the commercial traffic here, and it doesn't mean we won't, or we can't. We are on the precipice of a great turnaround in Sullivan County. I want to be part of that. And it's the legacy you leave behind, it's the vision, and realizing that vision at the end of the day. So when someone talks about you, while I'm sitting there on my deathbed, I've made a difference. I do have a written response to exactly to Kitty's questions. We can go over them, or I can take your questions, whichever you prefer.
We have plenty of time, so if you want to do the initial statement, that's fine. That's good.
Okay. One of the questions was, where is your focus might be if you're a member of the IDA? Again, Sullivan County is in a period of transition. We can go one way or the other, but at this very moment in time, our downtown stores are vacant. Major developments, projects have been announced, but none have been started, and our property values are low. We have many things that can be targeted as a place to begin, but I believe job creation is the key. Without large employers, we won't have the middle class to spend money in stores, downtowns. And no business, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how many tax abatements we offer them, they're not gonna come to a community if they can't either manufacture the products or sell their products where they are. It's business. They need to do that. In order for us to be able to fill our downtowns and fill our storefronts, we need to have people that have disposable incomes that will be able to dine out, buy goods and services, buy products from these people. It all starts with job creation. We have to go after employers that will bring in jobs that will give us a middle class that right now Sullivan County is severely lacking. So where I would start, again, it's the larger projects. That's where the IDA needs to start. Doesn't mean we ignore the downtown. Doesn't mean that we ignore the smaller business people. That's what the chamber is for. That's what the partnership can help do. The chamber is mobile. They go from community to community, and they're out there talking to small business people every single day in Fremont Center, in Ulen, in Bethel, in Hankins. Small business people that can't leave their businesses in the middle of a day to go to see a chamber of commerce, so they bring the chamber to them. That's where we can help. That's where we can help spread the message about what the IDA has to offer. They want to do an expansion. They want to bring another piece of business here. Whatever it is, the chamber's already talking to them. We can help through educating our partners. We have 4 pillars in our community. Pillars to build upon. It's the IDA, the Chamber of Commerce, the Partnership for Economic Development, and the Visitors Association. Upon those 4 pillars, we can build anything we want, anything we can dream. But we have to start with the foundation and getting the word out of what we have to offer. So I hope that answered your question. Are you aware that Sullivan County IDA is subject to the new Sullivan County Ethics Law? I absolutely am, and it's about time. Every organization is only as good as the people that represent it. And every action of a person who sits on a board is a reflection of that board and of that agency they represent. So I wholeheartedly applaud you for putting that in there, not only for the legislature and the county employees, but also for the IDA and other county agencies. It has to be the cornerstone. We have to be above board and act with integrity. Otherwise, we won't have any credibility. And credibility at the end of the day is one of the most important things. If we want to have businesses move here, we have to be able to stand by our word and be credible. And that, to me, the ethics law puts our money where puts it down on paper and says, do you abide by this? Yes, I do. And we can hold people accountable to that. So I absolutely believe in that. That kind of is all the questions. I touched upon them in my background and we want to go. So I would be happy to answer questions.
Okay, great. We have a few.
Okay.
The first question we have is, there are many misconceptions regarding the purpose of the IDA and what their role is in economic development is. What is your understanding of the purpose of the IDA and specifically what their role in economic development is in Sullivan County?
The IDA was created as a conduit for business development and prosperity for a community. That's the foundation of IDAs. Our job as the IDA is to help business people connect to either the funding sources or provide them a conduit to get things done, whether through the bonds, whether it's the tax abatements, to help them grow their business, bring business here. And I had this philosophical conversation with someone pretty recently about offering people tax abatements, and why would you do that? And I'll liken it back to what I do for a living. I work for a major retailer. We offer people coupons every day to come into our store. Why? Because all of our competition does. If we don't offer people here, they can go to Orange County, they're going to offer things. They're going to go to South Carolina, they're going to offer things. We need to be able to put packages together to make Sullivan County attractive, to attract business people and businesses to create the jobs. It's all part of the greater good, it's all part of the package, and we have to be competitive, where there's a lot of competition out there. And as the IDA, we have to be creative in ways of bringing people here, offering them funding sources and offering them at least a chance to get a foundation within our community and have some buy-in.
Do you feel it is appropriate to promote your own business to an IDA applicant when the applicant is aware of your IDA board member status?
Absolutely not. It's a conflict of interest.
Okay.
And how can you make a solid business decision when you're personally involved in something? It's not feasible. When you step back, and even if you recuse yourself, if that person knows that you're an IDA board member and they approach you, that's inappropriate in itself. But for you to go forward and move on that goes against the ethics law. And understandably, I understand that people want to better themselves, but they shouldn't be serving in public office.
I didn't do it with you, but I had phrased that originally with everybody else, that it's not a trick question, and you obviously didn't think it was, so. Very good. With the possibility of gaming developers coming to Sullivan County and seeking IDA benefits, do you believe financial ability to actually pay full taxes should be a reason to deny the applicant's benefits?
I go back to what I said a couple minutes ago. Every business person wants to get what they can for their dollar. Every person wants to get the most for their dollar. Whether you're buying a shirt from a retailer or you're moving into a community, you want to get the best deal you can. That's smart business. That is not out of the question. We are in competition with other areas. Now granted, casino gaming maybe is a little bit different, because if we get chosen for the location, they have to deal with us. But they can go to Thompson, they can go to Liberty. If the IDA, we should grow that development. We should be their partners, not their adversaries. If they can come here and already there's a bad taste in their mouth that we're not partnering with them, that we're not helping them grow. So if they're building a casino and a hotel, that's wonderful. If through IDA funding or some other mechanism, they can build a convention center, all the better. If they can build a convention center and then with the extra money that we can provide to them, they can build an indoor water park to make it a destination for families where they would normally have that funding source or that dollars to do that. It's a win all the way around. It's all a matter of bringing dollars to the county, and at the very end, that business, whether it's a resort, a casino, it's going to create jobs. Those jobs are going to have the spin-off effect in our community. It's not just the casino. It's the 1,000 people that work there. Every one of those 1,000 people have to get their car washed, have to get their teeth cleaned, have to buy groceries, they have to go to the dry cleaner. All those other things I just spoke about our downtowns and bringing our downtowns back. If the casinos come to Thompson, say, it doesn't mean that every person who works there is going to live in Thompson. They may live in Fremont, in Ulen, in Narrowsburg and Berryville and beautiful parts of our community. Those are the downtowns that are gonna thrive from those new residents. So absolutely, I don't think ability to pay should not be our criteria. It's the return on investment is what has to be looked at.
How do you feel casino resort development will impact economic development in the business community countywide? And you just answered a little bit of it, but if you would expand.
During my tenure at the Chamber of Commerce, I ran 3 casino conferences. You laugh.
I laugh.
I say we ran. We brought in experts from Las Vegas. We brought experts in from Atlantic City, talking about business and talking about development and what they learned by the process and what we need to do to follow in their footsteps to get the tourism in, but also not fall into their pitfalls. So when you talk about development in the county, again, I work for a major retailer, and one of the biggest things we look at is cost of transportation of our goods and services. And in the paper the other day, there was a county resident who talked about used to have a laundry service in Woodbridge. And that laundry service served many of the hotels. There was butchers, there was all different people that were in the county. Those are the people that are gonna serve that hotel. That hotel, that casino is not gonna have to pay for, not gonna wanna pay the cost of transportation to bring goods and services. If we can provide them here in the county, from laundry services to fish markets to food purveyors to audio-visual services, you name the gamut, that is not only the downtown stores that will service the employees, but it's also the ancillary businesses that will grow from the casinos. We have to be creative. This past weekend, I was fortunate enough to attend the Sullivan Renaissance, as many of you were, program at Cablevision. And there was a young man, the youngest mayor in the United States, Savante Myrick, and he talked about phrasing questions. And if the question is, how can we get it to Sullivan County? Then maybe that's not the question we should be asking. We need to rephrase the question. What would make Sullivan County more attractive? And those are ways that we can answer the question. And I've actually taken that a couple times with my kids this past week, and rephrased questions. And we think we cannot continue to do the same thing we've done, because we'll get the same thing we've got. And that's the definition of insanity, right? Do the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome?
According to Einstein, you're correct.
That's right. You know,
But nobody else.
but
Einstein said it.
right, we cannot continue to do business as usual. We have to think outside the box. We have to break the mold. We have to be disruptive.
He said it.
And disruptive is not a bad thing. It just means doing things differently. We need to think disruptively. What can we do differently? How can we go out there and serve the greater good? The casinos, they want to come here, obviously. We're in the driver's seat. We can also talk about ways that they can help us grow the outlying communities, growing our school districts, grow our community in general. So hopefully that answers the question, long and short of it.
I think you've answered probably these next two, but I'm gonna ask them if you wanna answer them, feel
Okay.
free. As a potential IDA member, have you and your family ever received IDA benefits, and how has that influenced your desire to be on the board?
We have never received IDA benefits. My husband was a business owner, and we experienced a major fire where our business burned to the ground, and we didn't rebuild. And since then, my husband is in real estate, and we have never received IDA benefit whatsoever. But it doesn't mean that the funding to the IDA is not good funding for people. We didn't have a need for it. And as an IDA member, I honestly don't believe that it's ethical for a person on the IDA board to gain IDA funding for a project. If they're working on a project, more power to them. I hope that they do well, and they should be prosperous, but they need to step down.
Thank you. Do you feel the IDA should include equitable efforts in small business development as afforded larger job creators?
Yes, but with the caveat, If a small business comes to the IDA looking for funding, absolutely. If the chamber brings a small business to the IDA looking for funding or the partnership, absolutely, or the visitor association, absolutely. Should the IDA be focused about knocking on doors, downtowns, and talking to small business people? I think we'd be better served in educating our partners in what we have to offer. That's what they do every day. That's their job, is to go out and speak to local business people every day on a daily basis. We'd be better served putting our energies and our resources where we can bring jobs that will then help those small businesses on the downtown main streets get the customers to spend their discretionary income in our stores.
This is a little bit longer. It sets up a scenario. Again, not a trick question, but just to get have a barometer of your opinion on this. Periodically, the uniform tax abatement policy is reviewed with the taxing jurisdictions, and the pilot programs are changed, added, or eliminated. A developer submits an application for a specific pilot, meets all the criteria for the pilot, has satisfied the environmental review process, and has a favorable cost analysis, a benefit analysis. They know and they show that they have the financial capability to build and maintain the project. What is your opinion as to the rights of getting the pilot and the sales and mortgage tax abatement for that applicant?
What are the rights? I mean, they've submitted the application.
Do they've met all the requirements of the UTAP?
Right.
Do you believe that they have the rights to all of the abatements offered?
Unless otherwise shown that they don't have something that we're looking for, I don't understand why they wouldn't.
Mhm.
If they have gone through the analysis, and they've gone through the SECA, and they've gone through everything they've needed to do, and they've shown that they want to be good corporate partners and good corporate neighbors with Sullivan County, I don't believe that there's a reason that we wouldn't deny a corporation of any size the
You just said you
opportunity.
wouldn't deny, why
I'm
we
sorry,
wouldn't
we
deny,
wouldn't-
but
right,
give
we
it to
wouldn't-
them.
Right, we wouldn't give it to them, of any size,
Okay.
to be a good corporate partner to us, unless things were shown otherwise, but.
We still have 7 or 8 minutes.
Okay.
At this point, again, I would like to offer the ability of any of my colleagues to ask a question, if you have any of Jackie. Nothing?
Well, in the interest of fairness, the first candidate talked about their qualifications to be on the IDA based on their past experiences. So you've gone through that pretty extensively, but in terms of qualities, rather than I did this then, and
Okay.
if you could just talk about your transferable skills for a minute.
Sure. I am currently an HR director for the East Coast for a major retailer. I travel the country looking at business in our distribution centers, but more importantly, I see the areas and I envision, I envision what our community could look like when I see downtown areas. So I have,
The quality would be visionary.
yes, I'm sorry. The
That's
quality would be a
okay.
visionary.
Keep going.
I'm a problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
I think quickly. I use a proper balance of intuition and information based on my experience and in my training. I have a degree in psychology, I have a degree in sociology, I have a minor in business. I have a degree in nonprofit organizational management from the United States Chamber of Commerce and the University of Delaware. So when you take a look at the skill set, I'm not comfortable talking about my skill set. That's why I'm fumbling here. But every day in what I do, I solve problems.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
We appreciate yours as well. Thank you.